Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot into another live stream. Every Thursday we repeat 1 hour of full live stream where we cover crypto assets, and not just restricted to that. We also go into general markets, stocks, metals, whichever asset you want me to review. In today's video, who's that? It's me talking on another window. I got rid of that, and now that we can move on. I remember that happened. The last time it happened to me was with Benjamin Cowen. I had a tab playing the stream, and I forgot to remove it, and I was hearing myself repeating every single thing. That was really annoying. It took me a while to recover. Anyways, today we have a wide selection of cryptocurrencies. That means that people are getting more interested in me doing TA. That might be a signal, not necessarily the most bullish one though, but it's interesting. I got from the elite members a long selection of cryptocurrencies in just one stock I can see so far. And we're gonna review those. That's the way the stream works pretty much. And you can always request on the chat whichever you want. I got the chat right here. Hi everybody, how's everybody doing? And yeah, without further ado, let's go and let's start with the first one, which is going to be a stock, precisely the one I have in front of my screen. I hope the sound and everything is good. Yeah, perfect. Let's go. So there is someone in the elite that is a fan of this particular stock, which is NVO. Let me see the description in here. And there's been some news. Anthropic excites us, but it doesn't replace. There might be something bearish in here because we are seeing a puke. I know I'm saying that a lot these days, but that is pretty much what this is because it lost the range. This looks like a inverse head and shoulder, and the support was at 48. That's where I left you last week. And I say that it was looking good because it's in a channel up right there at the support of 38, but it broke that level, and it's for the first time, and it did it right after the hope, right? It put a higher high there, and then it's squashing everybody back down. It could not manage to use the double bottom, which actually play out on both sides as a liquidity hunt. Let me show you in detail what I mean. So first, that was the support, then it trapped all the shorts and it squashed them all the way up. Then it trapped the longs right above the previous high, and then it squashed them back down. So pretty much both sides are in massive pain. Of course, this is a strong downtrend that is starting to roll over, and let's see if this is an area of opportunity. And I think there is a gap there. There's an opportunity potentially to enter to the upside. There is resistance, that last resistance before that impulsive move there. And what else do we have below that? So we got that resistance, which I think is more significant than the one that is holding us now. So we got that 29 coming in, and the current support at 37, which I don't know how it's going to react. We don't see anything yet. We are on a weekly time frame. So on the 4 hour, it slowed down against that support. And that's, you know, a good sign, but not necessarily something categorical to say, well, that's the end of it. Now up we go. Not yet. Let's look at the RSI to see. Yeah, well, we broke the channel. So that's a breakdown. It's the most bullish support. What will be really bullish is this goes back up there and it closes somewhere back above. That could be indicative that this is ready for a wave up again, and maybe can reclaim the 47, which together with reclaiming the weekly RSI that just got lost will be, you know, a strong indication of upside. We talk about this level. We say if we lose the 48, we're going to go to 37. And here we are 1 week after. I wasn't expecting to see that. I actually was more inclined to think that the double bottom was going to play out. But hey, you know, you have to be prepared for both scenarios anytime. So if you enter in here, you need to put a stop loss, or you need to think, well, if we get to 37, I might have to DCA. Well, here we are. Gonna go with the next one, which is Caspa. And last time I was criticizing Bitcoin. Apparently, every time you criticize Bitcoin in Twitter, you get tons of people telling you, well, Caspa fixes all of that. This is it's almost like a group of religious people that knock on your door, you know? It's kind of like that. Let's go with Caspa. USDT on MEXC. Woo! We are in the squeeze still. We are building a double bottom on the RSI weekly, yeah, and we are on a falling wedge. So this is looking bullish, guys, particularly with this candle. So if this weekly ends up in an engulfing green candle, you might be too late, because we had the pattern like this up front before that green candle. This is happening today, but the falling wedge was there like this for many days, like for many weeks. And when you trade a bullish pattern like that, you try to enter on weakness, right? So you try to enter below support or at support at the last. That's the most risk I will take. But now on the breakout, it's high risk, because that could squeeze you back down and get you out of your position and then move up. So breakout, I don't like it, but many people prefer to take the breakout. Many people prefer to wait for the breakout and for the retest. You know, there's all sorts of preferences. And if you can manage the breakout and you know how to do it, good for you. I think it's looking bullish. Let's have a look at other things. Whoa, look at those longs entering in here. That's a massive amount of longs entering, and in the candle you can barely see it, right? So they're way bigger green candles all over the place, but that tiny one there has an enormous amount of people flipping long, and that's going back into the previous support, potentially facing it as resistance. Hopefully we reclaim that 36, so we go back into where, you know, Caspa is performing when the longs are around this ratio. Losing that level, we're kind of in a bad situation. Right, so I'm bullish on Caspa. I'm gonna say that. Of course, do not sell your house and buy Caspa just because with a finger in the air, kind of I'm saying I'm bullish on the pattern. You know, this probably has, I don't know, 60% chances of going up now. Let's look for upside. Let's see where it comes, the first challenge. I think the first challenge is going to be at 50 cents. So that is a confluence of this dump that was 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in red. So let's do something. Let's do something like that. Ignore the stop loss. Stop loss is on you. You decide where you want to stop loss. You decide if you want to do DCA. You manage your risk. You know, I won't do your homework. It definitely depends on what sort of trader you are and a lot of things. So I don't want to mess with that. Second target could be 78. That's where we also have a huge, well, probably the point of control of the full range. Let's double check that. Yep. Definitely. Oh no, it's 55 is the, but yeah, but that's too old. That's when it started. So I will say the 76 is very aggressive. 52 potentially is in the table thanks to this. The whole pattern calls for a move over 0.10, right? Because that's where it starts, the pattern. But I'm not so sure we can get there at this point in the market. Yeah, let's go for the next one, which is gonna be hype. No, this is not hype. It doesn't look like. There you go. Hype. Let's see what's the progress after the breakout on the weekly. We got that rejection there. And this here, my friends, that reclaim of the 28 on a candle weekly close could be really positive. So there's two scenarios. Let's make things very clear and very easy. Bitcoin now has a potential to do a dead cat bounce. Let's call it a dead cat bounce. It can go to 70, 74, 80, 85. No one knows. I don't know, right? I'm trailing. I'm going to try to squeeze as much as I can from that, and I'm going to build a short based on that. What's going to happen with the altcoins the higher we go? Well, they're going to give also an equivalent amount of upside, okay? And they're going to reclaim some levels now that Bitcoin is coming back, possibly above 70K, then these altcoins are going to each one by one reclaim some levels. And those levels are going to be very clear. Like, for example, Hype is going to probably reclaim 28.5 and then attempt a rally into 32, do equivalent things to Bitcoin. Altcoins are just, degen version, leverage versions, if you want, of Bitcoin. So they're going to behave very similar unless they have their own in-house trouble. if there's some FUD around them, if they are going down because they're being regulated or whatever, well, that's a different story. But in a normal scenario, they should just follow with Bitcoin. And that is the case at the moment for Hype. I think it could move into 31, 32 if Bitcoin also moves up. Bitcoin is already in the trap, and it gets rejected with that pattern I showed in the earlier video, which is we are already in a trap, right? The trap now, the higher we go, the trap has more longs trapped, but the trap already started. It already did a liquidity hunt into 69, and it went down into 68. So that has little amount of longs trap, and now we need to wait for market maker to decide, is that enough for me, for my appetite of trapping longs, or do I want to go higher and trap more longs first? No one knows. So if the trap executes from here, well, we're going to lose the 28.5, and we're going to start messing around with the levels where we were already, the 25.9 and other levels like that. If the market maker wants to go slightly higher, well, cryptocurrencies, altcoins are also going to test higher levels. And let's look into liquidation levels on Hype to see what's up there. This is just a micro tune levels that are interesting in case we go higher. So that 32.75 is right there. So basically reclaiming the next level of resistance and going slightly higher. That is a level of liquidation that you can visualize there. In case of failure from Bitcoin, if in case Bitcoin trigger a puke for some reason, the higher liquidation on the lower end remaining is 20, because 26 is already gone. So if it needs to go down, it needs to go now a little bit lower to 20 if Bitcoin also loses that. So it already went to 25. Next liquidity levels are around here below the previous support, naturally. Let's go with the next one, which is Ethereum. And by the way, guys, if you want me to review the coins, make sure that you are the last one in the comments always to write what you want me to do TA to. Because I'm going to go always with the latest comment from the bottom. And whatever I find there, that's what I'm going to pick. So make sure that you keep the chat busy. That really helps with the algorithm. And thanks so much for that. So let's go with Ethereum on the weekly. Yeah, we went to the same level of RSI, the 30 that we had in April in 2025, but we haven't gone as low as the 27th of June in 2022. Interesting, because Bitcoin has managed to get as low as 24, I believe, not 23, but 24 in the lows of the RSI. And I published that video that was saying RSI bottom. And RSI bottom not necessarily means price bottom. But with Ethereum, we're pretty far still. So 31, and we have way to go to 24. So that's 6-7 points away still, and it's pushing up. So we are looking for a breakout over this line, but something tells me that potentially we're going to be looking into seeing Ethereum doing a little bit more damage around this area before it exits with a breakout. And if it does a breakout here, probably it's going to be part of a trap, because at 40, we're not going to start a bull market. We're going to dump again into 24, get a few more people having fun with their losses, and then we break out. In terms of price action, we are respecting this trend line at the moment. We haven't gone as low, but that trend line is sitting at 1.7K. If we have a rally, I suspect with Bitcoin going into 74, 80K, then Ethereum is going to start going into 3K, most likely. It's going to break out from the 2-1 that has been holding this as resistance, reclaim, and then quickly go into 2.5 and then potentially into 3K, always depending on how far Bitcoin gets us. If the Bitcoin trap starts from today and those little longs that are trapped get squeezed into a puke, which has happened in 2022, I show you in the video in the morning a specific example where it moves from 26 to 32. That's a very small bounce up, lives a week, and from strength, it pukes down into 17 or 18, I think. So that's an example of a very early puke without any upside, and that could happen. We cannot rule it out. And so how do I execute that? Trailing stop loss. Yeah, you guessed it. So yeah, Ethereum is looking okay at this area. There might be a chance together with Bitcoin to face that resistance at 39. Let me see where is 39, just to get us started on some potential initial targets. So that is 2.3K. So just facing the weekly resistance is 2.3K. Which we need to remember. Longs are coming back, not as much as with Caspa. That's really DJing the amount of longs. It's like if in Ethereum we went all the way to 60 in one go. Yeah. In terms of liquidations, because on Ethereum definitely we have a lot more data. You can see we achieved the full targeting here. We are building a double bottom around there. We reclaim this level. That looks like liquidity hunt on the daily. We have a neckline at 2.1. That is previous support. Let's put a line here. That corresponds with that level. And if we cross the 2.1, then we have some rally to have to the upside. We have liquidity at 2.5, 2.3, and 2.150. But that is for a small rally, right? If Bitcoin gets just into 73, 74, then we can get 2.5 in here. Then there is this vacuum, which is the question mark. Can we really get that far and hit 3.5? I personally don't think so. But again, that's just my finger in the air. Do not close your position at 3K. Because I say we cannot get to 3.5, use trailing stop loss. Let the price tell you, not me, because I don't know where we are going to get. I really don't know. Right, we are done with Ethereum. Let's go with SUI, which is the next request from elite members. And yep. Okay, so this is holding the 90 cents. Is managing to defend that level twice, just like Bitcoin is defending the 60K. And we are talking about a potential move into 1.3. So I still think that is possible. Notice that this level was resistance in here. Yes, SUI is very exaggerated for the moves down and up. It is very volatile. And if we form a bullish pattern here, the thing is I wouldn't like to miss a big rally here. So I will say we are in an area of value, at least to enter with a first order right at support there. That breaks and we could go to 61 or to 47. So how much is that downside? So that's a 35, and this is a 50%. So it's pretty big, but I think we are entering a golden area in here. You might miss out. So having some exposure with SUI in here, I think is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because just quantify this leg. I'm not saying it cannot go lower, right? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we're about to run out of motivation for this to really bleed a lot more. That's just my perception. And of course, RSI needs to do a lot of things, needs to complete a double bottom, but we are on the right shoulder at the moment. So right shoulder, on the right leg of a double bottom. If we get this fully formed, we are in an area of privilege. If it happens, if this doesn't play out and it does just that and then comes back down, well, it still gives you headroom to trail it and to not get dumped on, because it's a lower low. It's the lowest RSI we have had since pretty much listing. We started from here. So I will expect some reaction there. We already pinched then, and then a slightly low. This is a lower low. And price is also a lower low. No, I was looking for a bullish divergence, but we don't have it. We have a bullish divergence, though, against the longs in there. So this is lower, and this is higher. So longs are getting bullish on this right at that support. So an initial order on SUI, I don't think is a sin. It's okay. I'm probably going to add some to my SUI because I don't have any at the moment. And I think I waited enough, so some exposure is not bad. With Solana, liquidations on SUI. Let's see what we have on the lower end on SUI. Just if we need to add funds, what is a great place to add funds? So look, on the daily, there's already a breakout. It's a low quality, though. I don't like it that much. From 73 to 18, yeah, that's a wide spectrum, but it went straight and it broke out from 41. I like breakouts from lower, but anyways, you cannot get everything you want. So it's trading close to the $1. There's plenty of liquidations up until 1.3. So here's the thing. I think it's on the table. I'm moving to 1.3. And that's not a big profit, right? So it's like a 30%. But if we manage to cross the 1.3 and hold around here, so if we reclaim lost support there, then we may have a chance to go into $2 at some point in the bear market. Yeah, it is possible, but I think this is gonna drag here and then start in a painful way. In the bear market, there's a lot of manipulation, and not everything is so clean. Not because you get a breakout, you're gonna go like that. There's a lot of altcoins that they break out and then they do something like that. It's like a painful retest, and it plays with your emotions and everything, and it then eventually still goes for the liquidity, and that's where you throw the monitor out of the window. But that's kind of what you should expect actively in a bear market. Yeah, let's go with Solana. On the lower end, 0.78 and 0.658 are good amounts of liquidation levels. And yeah, this got formed after October 10th, the Binance liquidation, and we don't have any more history on this platform or on any platform as far as I know. So let's go with Solana. Solana is in an area of value, and here we already called this area of value, the 38, and that gave a move up of 16%. In the bear market, when we call areas of value and you are in the value, what is value? Value means that it's high likely gonna bounce. Does it mean it's gonna bounce to the moon? No, it means it's going to bounce because it's just an area where there is support and you can get a 6%, a 10% bounce, something like that. And do not think I'm saying, oh, this is the area of value, we're going to all-time high. No, definitely I'm not saying that. But once you enter in an area of value, you strap a stop loss trailing or break even at the very least, and then you don't get dumped, right? And you wait there. If this rallies, good for you. If it doesn't and it comes back down, you don't lose anything. So it's kind of a win-win. And we are in one of those areas of value with Solana at the moment at 83. The actual golden value was when we visit this green line, which we've been highlighting as a confluence between that and the horizontal at 60. And unfortunately, I couldn't enter there. So I'm already away from that golden entry, 27% up. So I'm not going to buy Solana in those conditions. I'm going to wait for another carnage. And if there's no carnage, I don't buy any. I don't care. I have to be always in a position of advantage. If not, I don't take it. I don't care. And Solana, liquidation levels, there were plenty to the upside, I remember. Let's have a look. So if we have a rally in the upcoming days, a continuation of this, we have already formed a neckline right there. It put a new high, so this also qualifies as an initial trap. You need to start reading the candles like that. Weakness is this, right? Puke from there, low likely. That one is a higher high that came back into support. So what does it mean for you? Think about the psychology of the people entering at 91, just like the people entering this morning at 69K on Bitcoin. They're trapped, right? How many of them? Not that many. If you want to trap more, you need to go up until 111. But maybe potentially enough to dump from there because they're trapped. Maybe to squeeze them into a fair value gap or something. So this is already not great to enter in a long unless you are trading a breakout and you really know how to trade breakouts, which I don't teach in my channel. I don't cover that because I don't do it in practice. So why am I going to teach you something I'm not as experienced? I prefer to teach you, the golden entries that I call my golden entries, so you can learn those. I think on the table here we have 105, 95, and 108 possibly. Big liquidations at 151. Those are reserved for Bitcoin going into that open interest of 1.7 billion I mentioned this morning. So Bitcoin needs to go into $89,000 for Solana to reach 151, 152 and take equivalent amounts of big liquidity that started the full dump, right? On the lower end, we have 66 and 60. Those are for me to remember this time. I need to put an alert in case we go to those levels and we put a lower low right there. That's first initial order, and then I start adding more aggressively on the lower end if we go there. If we don't go, no, nothing. I won't do anything. Let's go with Polkadot. That's the next one. And let's see how we are on the comments. Hey, Mariano, I've been really enjoying your analysis over the last few weeks. Thank you very much for posting so regularly. And let's increase this. Remember, guys, if you have any request on any coins that you want me to cover, make sure that is in the chat. Things are pretty quiet. So let's go with DOT. We got a signal in here. We just pinch a level with very little number of longs. So definitely that is a position of strength, of advantage, because you are pretty much pinching the lowest percentile of longs. Similar to being in 18th of September 2023, which led, a massive rally. And I'm not calling for that, but if you normalize that to being in a bear market, that could mean some rally, for example, into $4, or more conservatively speaking, into previous lost support. So that will be $2.2 or something like that. So that is an upside, very humble. It's just a 40% for Polkadot that can go down 97. So risk reward adjusted. If we go to the $4 I said, that's a 165% upside. So when you have too many shorts, there's always the opportunity that the longs are taking. So smarter longs enter there to squash those excessive shorts to create a short squeeze. And since Bitcoin is potentially stepping into a short squeeze, it has been partially, but a small one so far. If Bitcoin enters in a bigger one, into 74 and 80K, then Polkadot can do anything within this range, okay? Not guaranteed. Don't come back to me and say, you say 4.2. We didn't go for 2. This video aged bad. That's not how it works. My God. Anyways, I didn't see this. I just saw it. We are right there at the resistance. So Polkadot has performed really bad. We need to also adjust expectations for being in a bear market and for underperforming, okay? When you see an asset underperforming, if you're going to long, you need to think twice. Personally, I wouldn't like to long an asset like this. I prefer to look for another one that is showing more strength. You have so many options. Why would you trade the one that looks worst, right? This one looks bad. It lost the support. It's building a double bottom, but it has done 3 layers of failure. So this breakout failed, that breakout failed, and now we have another breakout. So every breakout you get more chances that the next one has more chances. But you also have the other side to look at things. If an asset keeps underperforming, what's going to change to really make it perform great? So there is an opportunity, sure. But if you're thinking 300%, squash it to maybe 20 or less and then trail, okay? Opportunity, sure, for Polkadot. Relative to other assets, okay-ish, okay? Maybe for me, a skip. For you, I don't know. Let's go with the liquidation levels. Are we going to find that here? I always forget. Yes, there it is. So in terms of upside, where is that juicy liquidity that makes this worth taking along? We got an initial level at around the $2.4 that we already talked about, then followed by 3.6, and then the whole thing is broken. But let me do a little bit of speculation in here because, you know, we don't need really this chart. So where is the liquidity, guys? The liquidity is right here. Right? That one. This went up. That's this. That one. This went up, came back down. That one. What is liquidity? It's positions that enter at a critical level that got lucky. See, these guys got lucky to enter in a short. These guys got lucky to enter in a short. These guys got lucky to enter in a short. Each one of them created a bucket of liquidity, and you can see in the platform. It makes it easy for you. But if I don't have the platform, and I look at the price action, you know, I close my eyes and I have never seen trading different, I know where it is, right? And you know how heavy it is because these are enter and cause a massive move down. And anyways, trading different is just speculation as well. It's based on heuristic, you know, software, an algorithm that try to forecast where is the liquidity based on how much open interest went in, the funding rates, the longs, shorts, whatever they can get from the order book. But they do not have those numbers coming from the exchange. Nothing tells them, oh, there's a lot of liquidation pools here. They speculate they are there based on the data that they have. DOT. Okay, we finished with DOT. Did we finish with DOT? No, we didn't look at the lower end. Let's look at the lower end. In here, we got liquidations at 1192, and the biggest is $1, which we haven't hit since 10th of October, and we hit at that point only on Binance. On other exchanges, that liquidity should still be there. So $1 is your biggest risk together with 1.2. And this is facing this resistance right there. Pretty much every coin is building the same pattern, finding the previous support as resistance and eyeing a potential small liquidity very close and then a larger one way higher. And we're going to let Bitcoin decide whether we just can claim that, or we go for the larger one, or we just dump from where we are. No one knows really what's going to happen. So position yourself managing that risk to try to get the most you can get from this. And if you don't manage in 2 months and we are here and you say, well, I did it wrong, well, learn and repeat. Let's go with CRV. So this is at the lowest support, still holding the 22. And it's right there at weekly resistance for potentially having a relief rally as well. That relief rally can go into 34. So same story as always. First target, 34, 35. Second target, 44. Losing with Bitcoin going into previous support, lower support, which is at 18. There's not much more to say, really. It's that easy, really. Let's go with Link. Link holding $8. Link already had a breakout and failed. So that is 1 point against Link. And it's right there at weekly resistance as well. It's stopped right there. Although the actual price resistance is $10. That was holding the full bull market, the $10 mark. Reclaim $10 and we can go into 12.18. Can we really go now into 17? So first of all, where is this 41? Let's put this 41 in the chart. I'm interested because it could be interesting to see here the breakout and then the revenge rally into 41. That is trading at 10.89. So if that level that held the full bull market gives us another rejection, we have to stop at less than $11. It's a moving target, by the way. So if it's 2 weeks from now, don't memorize the number 11 because it might come down if we go fast up, or it might go away if we do a pullback before. So you can get these charts on the Telegram channel. The link is in the description. Don't search for it because you're going to find 1,000 scammers in one that is the actual channel. So use the one in the description and you can request the chart of Link or many altcoins. They're all available and you can request 2 a day for free. And you can see how things are doing with the targets and everything. Link. All right, so it's also against resistance. Let's look at liquidation levels. Yeah, some bullish pattern here on the daily. And some big buckets of liquidation levels. Of course, I think these are out of consideration. Like 28 is just too far. But low-hanging fruit we have at $10, as we discussed, and $11. That is doable for a Bitcoin going slightly above 70K. For a Bitcoin going beyond that, beyond 80K, then we have all of this, but the chances we get that far are small, in my opinion. On the lower end, below the price, we have 7, 6, and 5.3 as liquidation levels. The biggest one is 7. And very close proximity to the price, we have there 1 at 8, which is where we start the double bottom formation. That's important. Okay, let's go with Phil. So many elites that are voting. I think it's because I'm giving away the subscriptions, and we're getting more elites now, and everybody's voting, which is cool. It's cool. It's giving me more ideas to trade. And remember, any video gets more than 500 likes, and I will put a link down there. I need to still think about the methods so the bots are not stealing our links. Okay, what's going on with Phil? We reached the lowest levels of longs. That was on the 9th of February. We bounced. We are against this trend line, bleeding, and eventually this thing is gonna just pop, just like it did in November. We got right there our resistance at 1.5. And then we got another one. Let me see. It's not very clear. I think this is extremely important because it was support for so long and then resistance in here. But that is too far, I think. And on RSI, we should put this line like this now because we get more points of contact there. And yeah, we have the global resistance right there. I need to stretch it a little bit more, which is coming in at 54. Let's see in the price, where is that 54? That's global resistance. And notice that in November, we couldn't manage to get to global resistance. So there's nothing telling us that we can get there. And just to give you an idea, that is at 1.8, and that's a move of 83%. And I'm basically telling you, in November, we couldn't get there. Things were not bullish enough for Phil to even touch global resistance like it did in the past. So nothing tells you that you can really get now that high. And in the price, that's not very high. It's got in between that 1.5, which is heavy resistance. So maybe that rally is going to be between where we are and just 50% up max, and then hit that point of control, which is the point of control of the full range. And then we need to see if we can really get past 1.5 because it's heavy resistance. But we got that delta signal that this is the first time we get it in history. That means that we just went very low in the long. So there is some upside to be had, but let's adjust expectations accordingly based on what we see in the chart. Liquidations short term, because I don't think these guys are going to have... Oh, they do. Amazing. Then let's go for better quality. This can go. That, let's put it out of the chart so we can see upside and downside. So we got all the pulls. Yep. Right. So big levels is 1.7. How far is that? I think it's a little bit too far. Let's see where is 1.7. 1.7. The target was 1.9, and I don't think we can get into the global resistance with Phil. I think we can probably talk about 1.5. What do we have between here and 1.5? We have 1.153, 1.391. The 1.7, oof, I need Bitcoin to do a lot better, cross 80K, and then we can talk about 1.7 and 1.9. Otherwise, it's just, if it's in the 70s, then this is the area we can reach. I'm not just saying things randomly. Sometimes I don't say what I'm thinking, but I mentally put this pattern there and I put it like that. And I quickly think that's within reach. I don't do it just like finger in the air, although I use that expression, but it's basically the high of the pattern. That is technical target. That's on the table. If Bitcoin goes up in the right direction, then this is reachable quickly. Then you got depression, and then you get an area that is reserved for FOMO for people that are looking too up, too high, and then they get squashed. Right, next one is HBAR. And let me do it again. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we have that 46.86. And that was an area we were calling out last time. That coincides with 0.134, which is the next level of resistance that we already paid a visit. We print a delta from the little number of longs. We went there, we print it again, and there is a chance that we go back again there. Support is 87. Next support is 43. And we already pinched that. We grab liquidity and we are moving up now. Very little number of longs. Again, that's giving us that signal there. Let me see. Oh, that looks sexy. This looks sexy. So we are already in a breakout. And how come I didn't mention that last week? I should have called this. I deserve a slap. So that is a breakout on the RSI, and we are 3 weeks ahead already in direction to 46.86, which is possibly the 13. So, you know, my preferred setup is to accumulate on this point or on that point below 30, below the line, after spending enough time there. How much time spending? Well, look at how much time you spend there or here, and then start building a position. Particularly this one at support with the delta looked very sexy, but that was on beginning of February. Maybe I didn't do TA at that time of this one. So that's HBAR. Let's see liquidations. Hedera. Yeah, battling resistance, just like every other coin. It's got like a cup and handle there with a technical target around the previous dump, which is 13,391. So that makes it possible to get to the next resistance and the revenge rally there. Whether it's gonna reclaim or not, I don't know, but fasten your seatbelt if you get to 46.86. And yeah, what else do we have? The liquidity. There is quite a chunky amount of liquidity after the technical target. Be aware. The 14 and 15.9 also. So 14 and 16 are quite heavy. And they are not that far off from the technical target. Within the technical target, you have 13, 12, and 11. Well, 11, 12, 13, one by one, pretty much. Below the price, let's normalize this like that so I can just see the lower end. And you got one chunky area at 70. For a swing low, you have 81, 63, and 71. Those last two are lower lows. And the biggest one is 40 or 41, which I will reserve for the darkest hour of the bear market, probably. Let's go with the next one, which is, I got 2 more to go with a vote, and then I'm going to switch to taking requests. So make sure that you are writing down that the latest one is yours, because there's just 10 minutes, so I won't be able to take many requests this time. So hopefully you guys can jump on the elite membership, and then you can request coins, hopefully getting 500 likes. So that helps you, because you get 1 full year for free if we do that. So next one is Pippin. This reminds me a lot of the Rings. I never heard about this one, but it's doing pretty good. And what is this about? Pippin. But it's all about hype. I don't know what's the relation between hype and peeping. Maybe it's listed there. I don't know. I have no idea what is peeping. And so we got in here 2 waves. Pretty intense. Moving back to the golden pocket probably, and then putting a new high. Longs are at 75. It's quite a dangerous place to enter in a long in here. It's just calling for taking a short, but you never know when these things can stop because they are so low cap that the upside can be really painful if you take the wrong short. And on the daily, so this test already that level as new support, and it went for new highs. On the daily, it's in the middle of a breakout. You could place a line like that and check that it's maintaining. That momentum was 65. You are in the middle of an incoming bearish divergence on the daily. So there might be a slowdown in here, maybe a bull flag incoming before continuation. But it's really difficult to do TA of this low cap. How much volume? 3 million. Average volume 7 million. I mean, 7 million is nothing. They can do whatever with this. So literally you could do TA, but if they have enough cash to manipulate this, they will. And I'm sure it will happen. And the last one is Morpho. Never heard about this. And this morning I just put this line. That's all I found initially. Well, I think it was on the weekly more clear. So it looks like that. This is not a bearish pattern, right? So it's like a double bottom. Is just facing resistance immediately there at 1.8. It's got a breakout. So from the point of view of momentum, this already broke out. So what this is saying is price should follow through and repeat what the momentum already did. That's the most likely. Socials are exploding. So everybody's talking about Morpho except for me because I never heard about this. And let's see on the daily. Yeah. Not much to say really. So if it got rejected, how can this survive? That will be a good question to answer. So you got this level there, which is what price? 1.7. That was support, resistance, support, 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 support. And now it broke above. So if this gets a rejection, if we could retest 1.7 or swipe there, that area, and reclaim 1.7 and then continue, that will be fantastic. Because I think, you know, that point of control of, where is the point of control? Can I get a point of control so I don't have to be speculating? There you go. So point of control is at $2. And we are facing that weekly resistance. And we have the point of control somewhere there. And it's the moment of truth, basically, for the asset. So if the breakout really wants to survive, it needs to stay above $2. The 1.7 is like a compromise. If we get rejection from the $2, let's try to defend 1.7 and candle close basis. You can play around below 1.7 for a little while, intra-candle on the weekly or daily, but ideally by the end of the week, you're about 1.7, so you get to form a nice and tidy bull flag that can break the $2. And once you break the $2, then you can get the volatility to the upside and some price discovery. Let's do some trend extensions in here. This is wrong. So we are at the 0.5. I need more than that. I need 1 and 1.618. So an extension of 1 will put this at $3 if, you know, we really get bullish. And this has even less volume. Look at the volume, 250K. They can do whatever with this on OKX, literally. But repeating the plate will take you to $3, a golden pocket to $4.2. And those are not forecasts, guys. I don't trade these things. And, you know, even though it might play out, it might not. You never know. It's so easy to manipulate with 250K. Don't you think that OKX, they have more money than that? You know, that they can really get you here, get the thing to trigger the pattern, the breakout of the point of control, and then dump it below the point of control with a snap of a finger, literally. They just need 250K. That's nothing. And they can trap so much more people getting hooked with the idea that the point of control broke. All the algos, all the different trading bots, wasting time. Anyways, if you want to trade it, that's a TA, but you are well aware that that is a recipe for disaster. APT USDT. APT, what is it called? APT. Is it Aptos or not? It doesn't say the name. Anyways, now we are talking, yeah, that's $8 million, at least a little bit more. Longs at the very, very, very low. So lowest in history of longs, lowest in history of momentum as well. Areas of accumulation look like that. We could start speculating that this is an area of accumulation. It looks like one in development so far. But it has lost, I'm afraid, some important levels. Lots of weakness on this. Look at this price action. There's no way I will trade this thing. After it completely puked the 3.5, it went to around $1. That's the last line in the sand, really, because there's no more price action below $1. That's the same level we went in October during the liquidation. But there should be an opportunity on the way to squash excessive shorts, because I'm pretty sure that throughout this range there's just accumulation of shorts. Let's see if we get lucky. My God, they're listing all the coins. That's fantastic. They've been listening to my moaning, probably, because they used to have just 5 or 6, and now they have plenty, which is great. Let's put all the liquidation levels, and we got a $2 on Aptos. Yeah, it was Aptos. Let's go for the daily. Yeah, there's liquidations all over the place. Yeah, so the first low-hanging fruit is $2. I mean, with an asset behaving like this, I will just focus on that, and whatever I get more, you know, is fantastic. But look, Bitcoin bounces back up, and this puts a big green candle, big of 25%, but you can see that relative to the risk, it's nothing. You get 25% up, and you really don't fix anything. You're still in a huge, massive dump. Or, for example, this one moves 33, but it doesn't look like it's helping at all to exit with DCA. Like, if you have to DCA these guys, like I DCA from 108 to 59, and I got out in profit. I cannot do it on something like this. I mean, if I knew I was going to do something like this, I will prepare for that. But if it does this on me, I'm screwed. You know, it's super difficult to get out of this. During the bear market. If you get into the bull market, there might be some recovery that allows you to exit in a small, tiny profit. But it's really tough. All right, so we got that liquidation at 2, then we got one at 4. Let's see how realistic is that. So if you go into 2, we get there. 4 is too far. I think it needs to reclaim the 3.5 first. So I will focus on the $2, and that's it for a potential trade. Average down into the lower end in here and building a position into the resistance. So where is that resistance? That's important. 43.68. 43.68. That's at 1.9, even before. So if you just go for the neckline, you have to break out from this full pattern. And it has only puked since December 2024. It's been for a year and 2 months just puking. And now we have an opportunity to get into $2, but for that we need to break out. So if this does that, I will be in favor that this pukes again. That will be my expectation, and I'm gonna leave it like that. So not tradable for me. Let's go with the next one, which is virtuals. Protocol. You get what I mean. I was talking in the earlier in the stream that coins break out and then they enter in a phase of painful retest and nothing happens, and then eventually they still go up. So let's see if virtuals can do that, because it's in the middle of a painful retest. So it's holding the 41 so far. We're gonna have to put another layer in here. And we are right at that weekly resistance. So that is 43.68. It's the same as the other one, crazy. But this is already facing that resistance, which is 70 cents. It goes below 70 cents and it can produce a breakout. Now, notice I'm drawing a red line, but look at what this one did. So if it fakes again, it could do something like that again, and then we find ourselves doing another layer, right? So that move, doing just that, getting into 56, let's put this in perspective. It could give us a move into 110, 112, right above that support. We're probably where we have the liquidity, right? So liquidity, where does it go typically? 1, 2, 3, 4 candles down and above 111. It started building from there. Let's go to liquidity. I don't think we're gonna find this one. No, but we can do it here. Where was it? 110. And 1 is there and 116 is there. So let's reduce just to see which one is the biggest. So we just took that one at 66. So all of this is gone. There's just a tiny leftover at 77. But then we have to deal with 1 and 111. And those are the levels that we could approach if we go into the previous resistance. We need to face this immediate resistance right there at 69.70 cents, because that was support in this range twice, and then we lost it. Now we are facing it as resistance, so we need to break above that, hold it, and continue into the next one, 1-1. That will produce in here a breakout, but keep this modus operandi of very fast, quickly, attract a lot of people, and then dump on them, and then do another layer. So it's not necessarily going to be an upside sustained for a long time, because we are in the bear market. So this could be just another pump and dumpy situation again with some sideways. Next one. Hey, did you stop the trading view strategies? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean the trading bots? Yes, I don't do trading bots anymore. Well, I got a trading bot, but it's a completely new generation of trading bots, a lot more complex, with completely secret alpha. The alpha that actually works. And let's go with near. I didn't do near, right? Let's do it now. Okay, so I left this not forecast, this trading idea. Let's call it trading ideas from now. No? There's no forecast in this channel. You come back down there, then we came back down in here, So I left you this drawing to play with. And in the last weeks, we came down there and we got all the longs squashed out of position. And then fresh longs are entering from the lowest percentile at the last support. So that is a position of advantage. If you've been watching the stream in the previous weeks, and we did near, I'm sure we did, you could have been monitoring this on the Telegram channel, requesting once a day the chart of near, and you will have seen that this trigger signal right at support, and that will be a perfect entry. And by now, you will be 11% up, so more than enough that to put a break even. And if this continues, you could catch an 83 risk-free. If we don't get there and we do a lower low, you're out without losing anything. That is value, right? What I mean by value, that's precisely what I mean. Getting safe as quick as possible is value. It's not the amount that you take home in the account, because it means that you're following a methodology and you are trying to get safe as soon as possible to in average be much better trading the vast majority. You get to 80% there, and if you break that resistance, you can go to the next one and you get 146. If you break the next one, 200, and you continue to trail. Once you are halfway here, you start moving the stop loss, you face this resistance and it gets an ugly rejection. You are out, or you leave in the break even and see how it goes by itself if you're really bullish on the asset. Let's see what targets make more sense in here. I think the low-hanging fruit of 1.8 looks good, but let's see liquidation levels. Oh, we run out of time. So this is going to be the last one, or maybe I'm going to do one more, guys. One more. So make sure that yours is the last one in the comments, and then we close it. Because I need to go to gym, of course. This is $2. It's $2 too far. I suspect that $2 is too far. $2 is kind of the point of control. It's 2.3. $2 is around the first resistance, so that is doable. And we got that peak of liquidity right there. Let's bring on all the bands. Yeah, I think the setup of $2 looks decent. Low-hanging fruit is up until 1.4. Then there is this vacuum, which is the question mark area, and then the big chunk at $2. We've been there less than a month, well, a little bit more than a month ago, so it's not that far off. I think it's doable. I mean, look at the range of this, right? You just need to move from here to there. It's definitely doable to get to the $2. Last time we got the delta triggering, it triggered around $2 and it moved to 3.3, so that's a 50%. The delta now triggers again for a second time. So the last coin, I'm going to read it right now. I hold ADA from 0.335. Should I sell? Please answer. I mean, I cannot tell you if you should sell, but let's cover ADA since I see that multiple people are asking for it. That's going to be the last one. My God, it was really nice to sell ADA this cycle. Like I held this crap all this way, averaging down, waited, sold. There must be a tweet where I'm selling. I no longer have any, but we are at the final support at 24. I guess people want to know if we are going to the previous cycle range. Yeah, because when ADA collapses, look at this. It was ugly. It was impossible to DCA out. We lost that support at the 50 cents. We got resistance at 33. So if you enter at 35, within this range, there is a point of control at 36. So there is a chance that from the support of 23, we go into the point of control and to test it as resistance. I'm sure that at that point, you're going to be sweating cold because you're going to be in a slight profit. And if you really want your money back, if you get into that point, put a very tight stop loss at that point once you get there. If we lose the 24, there's still a chance that we go into that point of control because it's a very heavy area and it doesn't take that much to get to that level. It's a very low level, or you might end up waiting for the next bull cycle to exit at 35. That level is doable for ADA once more, I think, not based on fundamentals, just on technicals. If something fundamentally breaks on ADA, like they take this dude that is very crazy, the CEO, and he was in the Epstein files or something, I don't know, he goes to jail, then that's a different story. We got a resistance at 67, we have resistance at 53, but I think the 30, your entry is still a low-hanging fruit. It's not difficult to get there again. It's possible. Let's look into liquidation levels. I cannot give you financial advice. I have no clue if you have to sell or not, or add or whatever. I just think that there is a chance, and I might be wrong. Let's see where are those big liquidation levels. You have one at 46, one at 51. Liquidation start becoming big from 42, and you have a position at 35. So personally, I'm down 17% on ADA. That is nothing. I will be so happy in the past bear market if I was minus 17. With my ADA position, I was like 80% down. And I have to deal with that. And I say, okay, I'm going to have to keep this crap there for long. When it was back in profit, I was pretty much dropping tears because it took pain and tears to get back in profit and average it down. But I was stubborn. I am stubborn and I exit in profit. I think you can do it. Definitely. If you are as stubborn as me and you have resistance to time and drawdown, you will. Otherwise, a 17% loss is nothing anyways. Well, depends on the size of your position. Thanks so much, guys. I know there's plenty of questions in here, but I gotta go. I need to go to gym and do some other things. I've been in front of the charts since the morning. We're gonna do another stream next Thursday, of course. Hit the like, subscribe, write down your comments down below. Remember, 500 likes on any video gets you elite, and then you can be part of this poll where members of elite, request the coins. You get 5 hearts, and every week you can put hearts to anything. You can add your assets in here one day before the stream, so you get me to also have a look at them before the stream, so I can kind of have some lines prepare on most of them.